Hello and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by Mike Smith, award-winning director Brian Redondo, and Savon Jones, aka Captain Vonnie. This is episode 32, and on today's show, we talk about the penultimate episode of Loki, which is turning out to be a phenomenal bit of storytelling. I'm confident that this is going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund. Welcome back to our next episode of Confidently Wrong. We're here to talk about Loki. We're excited. The show has been just a wonderful show that I've really enjoyed. We're all the way through episode 5 now. So the last time we talked about it, we were at episode 1. We're now through episode 5 with one episode remaining. And we're going to talk about how it's going. Yes, there will be spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. The first question is going to go to Savon. So last time we talked about this, the three of us, me, Mike, and Brian, were 100% in on Loki. We're super excited for it. We're like, man, this is just a cool show. We're excited to see where it goes. Take us anywhere you want, right? You're getting the naughty dog treatment. We'll go wherever you want us to go on this one. Savon, you were a little bit more tepid. You were like, I like some things about it. There are some things that are like kind of especially you were down on the aesthetics.
Savon was tepid? Savon had a neutral take? Savon, Ryan, Jones.
Is that really neutral? That was more critical.
Actually, I was saying yesterday, like, me and Alan were laughing because.
But you didn't hate the show.
No, so it was one of the only times Savon has said, like, oh, I actually don't like it. Like, everything else is like, it's fine, it's pretty good. And then in the first couple episodes, he was like, actually, that's not doing it for me.
Well, in last show, we just learned he loved Black Widow. So maybe, he's stretching that standard deviation a little bit here.
Mildly critical.
There's a little thing or two getting there.
So, Savon, has anything changed your mind? Are you still kind of like, about it? Do you like it a little bit more? Do you like it a lot less? Like, where are you standing now that you've seen 5 episodes?
Yeah, the things I don't like, it hasn't changed. In fact, it's probably like, you know what? I think
increased?
Like, just kind of like, it's just, I think it's helping me just solidify things about my taste that I'm recognizing. Like, I think when you just have a multi-dimensional story of different planets, people, all of this, everyone just being humans who speak American English, kind of just, I think suspending my disbelief starts to get a little harder. And it doesn't take me out a lot, but it takes me out a little. Like, just knowing the TVA is just a bunch of humans who just wear human clothes and have human technology, just kind of like, it doesn't feel super timekeepers-y. Like, I expect when I think the big universe, I expect to see aliens, and like, I haven't really seen any aliens in this, and like little things like that take me out of it because it feels like it all just revolves around Earth and human people, and that makes the story feel a little smaller to me. That's not. I think that isn't going to change.
Good point.
Legit.
Yeah, concede.
Like that was my issue with the TVA in the first place. I'm like, y'all manage time, but like, what? Y'all just got a bunch of humans who roll up on like alien snake world or Thanos' world, whatever. But so that was a taste thing that hasn't changed and it won't change. What I do love is
love.
Love. But for shows like Loki, if they're gonna really go into the really like crazy comic stuff that's really out there, you have to embrace the camp. And that's the biggest issue with the DCU movies we talked about, is that they never really want to embrace that, hey, these are ultimately tight-wearing, superpowered beings. You gotta have some levity. And I think they acknowledge that the nature of this story is so off the wall, you gotta just have humor and just be like, yo. Like, they kind of recognize that it's a little absurdist, and I like that they're leaning into that, because for some shows you kind of have to embrace it. And
is there anything in the last episode that stands out to you as like embracing
all the Lokis
that
fighting?
Idea?
Just all the Lokis fighting. It was the stupidest shit I've ever seen. President Loki comes in, he's supposed to be all gangster and cool, but then it's like a parody of itself. And
gets his arm bitten off.
And it was
Alligator
ridiculous.
Loki.
Alligator Loki.
I love as the only
boasting
person
black
in the show
Loki
that lives in Louisiana. I loved Alligator.
Like
Boasting
all that
black
was
Loki.
all that was silly. Like, even the Thanos copter reference is like, if you know what the Thanos copter is, if you saw it that little bit, it was like a split-second visual gag, but it's literally Thanos in a effing cartoon helicopter in the comics. Like, they leaned into that,
And they used it to sell toys or something, right?
Yeah, imagine Thanos in a helicopter, bro. Like, it's that. But they've leaned into that, and that has made me really appreciate and have a lot of fun watching it. So, do I like the aesthetic stuff? Not always. Do I think it's fun to watch? Absolutely.
None of that is like the meat of the show, though, the story or the directing, writing, all of that. Have you been into that, or is that more also just kind of like, whatever, and you're just more about the like Easter eggs
same with
that
the
you find?
writing. I think with the writing, same deal. It's like they've embraced the camp. Like, the characters know that these are ridiculous situations. There are moments when Loki is like the audience where we're just like, what the hell is this, bro? And, I think that was a deliberate writing decision of like, it feels a bit meta with the people literally just talking about Loki's as a concept. Like, that's such a silly conversation piece, but the writers in the writing room are really doing that. So, I think it reflects the writing too.
Time, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just a really fun show, and I think that reflects in the storytelling, the moments, the set pieces. They're having a good time, and that makes it a good time for me.
Brian, where are you at right now on this show after 5 glorious episodes?
Oh, it is glorious.
And why is Savon wrong?
It is glorious. I mean, you were saying how like all those things he was pointing out were kind of set dressing type stuff. They're not really the heart of the story itself. But to me, the dressing is everything. I love all those set pieces. Like every single location that this story takes us to is someplace that is just popping off the screen. It looks great. It feels great. Like Lamentus is cool. The chamber where the fake android timekeepers are is cool. The void where they're sending all the reset stuff to is so cool. Like that bowling alley. Like it's just it's so inventive and creative.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
Savon is cheesing like a mother right now.
Because I agree, it's fun to watch.
All that stuff
is
that is what I want out of these products, out of this MCU stuff, right? It's just like having fun with the creativity of it all, right? And then going back to what the meat and potatoes of the show is like the character of Loki. I rewatched episode 5 last night, and because there was like slight plot things I didn't fully understand. I was like, wait, why did the other Lokis suddenly sound okay with helping our variant Loki? I realized more and more how important the future Loki was, right? Or the old Loki, who to me is like scene stealer for that entire episode, right? The show is ultimately about self-actualization, which I mentioned earlier. It's such a life coach show, and it's Loki's trying to figure themselves out, and I feel like Loki is basically in purgatory. He can't move forward in life. He can't go backwards. He's just stuck trying to figure himself out. And purgatory is like a crazy hellish chamber of wild things, and that's everything that he's experiencing in every set piece of this show.
Can I say something?
I think it's
one
such
small
a
thing
cool
about
way
that?
to think about it.
I think that part is cool to me because that is mirroring Thor's arc that he's had in some of his movies, but in like this doesn't feel the same, doesn't feel like they're retreading that. But if you think about like the bigger things, right, it's like Loki is trying to prove that he's worthy both to himself and to others. Loki is trying to find out where he belongs and who his family is, and to do the right, like he's coming around to this idea that like I should be doing the right thing. But this doesn't feel at all like Thor Ragnarok, right? Like Thor Ragnarok has the same theme. He goes to what's the planet they go to? Sakaar, right? And that's purgatory for him, right? He has to figure out. He can't move forward until he's figured out who he is and where he's going. And so there's these themes that run through both Thor and Loki, that they're doing the same thing and they're brothers and they're connected. But this isn't they don't make this about Thor. We don't feel like this is a retread or that they're repeating themselves. And so I like that you're talking about like this is him finding out who he is in the same way that Thor had to find out who he is, but this feels so inventive and so new and different.
He's literally falling in love with himself.
Yeah, Savon. I was
Absurd.
talking to Savon, was texting me, and he was like, "Man, I hate this love story. It just feels so like ham-fisted." I'm like, "He's literally a narcissist, bro. Like he's gonna fall in love with himself." Like,
And gets called out for it, which is hilarious.
and it's so good, and it's so like self-referential about like the core of the character, and I think they've done Yeah, I'm not gonna I mean, I agree with everything y'all said. I think like the heart of the show, the writing, the directing is fantastic. I think visually it's so good. And I think the one thing that they've done well, and it's actually like very surprising about how well they did it, is like we got to remember that with Thor, he had all those movies leading up with that character development, right? Like the Loki we saw die in Infinity War, that was a Loki that had all that development. They hit reset button. So like when he said, I think, and they did it purposely in this episode, he was like, New York was just like 2 days ago. Like 2 days ago, this was just like a pure malicious villain. They managed to do all that character development that took multiple movies to do in a few short episodes, and now they've like done all that development, and we get to see the character kind of moving into a new lane. So it feels like this is just
and without it doing it too fast, it doesn't feel like they've rushed it,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that they were able to do that so well, and that's just, I think, a testament to how well written this show is. Like, not only is the dialogue so good, but the plot they created is just fantastic. And the plot connects with these beautiful sets in such a cool way. Like it's so thoughtful. It seems like every second of the show has been really well thought out, as opposed to the last show when it just seemed like some of the things were just kind of happening by themselves with no real reason. Like, this is really what I was expecting out of all the Marvel shows. I think this is the same quality we were getting from the last few Marvel movies, and I just think like this is what makes me happy. This is what I was expecting from this like stage of the MCU, and I just think it's delivered in every single possible way you could really want it to.
Yeah, shout out to the director of the entire series, Kate Herron, I think is her name, and also the cinematographer, another woman. We were talking about women representation in MCU, and behind the camera, they are making this shit amazing, consistently.
Yeah, and it's like not only consistently, but it's. I mean, Tom Hiddleston said, like, you know, once episode 5 hits, the last 2, it's almost completely a different show. And there have been like such distinct, almost like phases of the show, like the beginning of him like adjusting to or ramming in all that character development in a good way, and then kind of like figuring out the TVA thing, and then Owen Wilson dies, obviously, and we go to this new world, and then it kind of catches back, and it's just like they've done so many different things. It hasn't felt rushed. It feels like the show has time to breathe and develop naturally, and they've done that in a crazy short amount of time. So to me, this is definitely an accomplishment.
Savon, does any of that convince you that this is, you know, maybe a little bit better than you were thinking on the first couple watches?
I mean, for the record, I think Loki's a great show. Like, this is the case. This is literally.
Is it the best of the 3, though, would you say?
I think it becomes like a genre taste thing, because some of it is like, I acknowledge that this is like everything y'all have said I have agreed with. So any reservations I have are just more so genre taste things. Like I've already said earlier, I like the more grounded spy military MCU stuff. So like, that doesn't mean that this isn't still amazing, but that's just like a preference thing, you know? But the production value and writing is great. Like I said, my biggest issue going into this show, and I said this, was we're resetting his character development. What's that going to look like? And to kind of reinforce your point, Mike, because I very much agree, that they took advantage of it being a TV show. And while is it a shorter amount of time? Like, that's open to interpretation, because you have him as the lead in 5 hours of just screen time as the lead. You have more time for him to just do stuff.
But they did all that in like 1 or 2 episodes. Like,
yeah, but they kept building on it too, though.
Watching himself. Yeah,
but that like that. The question is, does it stick? And the later episodes made it stick too, because how they do it after also affects how I care about them trying to do an exposition dump episode 1. But the big thing is that Loki. Like he said it himself, New York was 2 days ago. They kind of make it clear that time is really just a construct, and it kind of is meaningless. So you really don't know how long it's been. So it can be as long as you need it to have been. Has it been days, months, years? He said it himself, you really don't know. I thought that was a nice little, like, small throwaway line to kind of give you a sense of it hasn't just been 2 days. This could have been ages to make the character development stick. Because I wouldn't like it if this was 2 days ago. I actually would have hated that, because then it would feel shallow. But when it feels like an undefined, just variable, that lets me kind of buy into him having time to have reflected meaningfully. Like,
he
Yeah,
was
how many-
stuck in a time
like
loop
that
with
loop he was
Lady
in, like,
yeah,
how
how many
long was
times did he get
hilarious.
hit by Sif?
Who knows? Was it
In the
millions,
nuts.
hundreds? But point
Yeah.
is, those little things help the character development stick to me and kind of grounds me in it. So they dispelled all my biggest reservations I had going in. I'll give them that.
All right, so we've got one episode left, episode 6, and I think Loki has been approved for or bought for season 2.
There's
which
going to
is-
be a season 2.
Oh,
I
really?
believe so.
He's
Is
got
that wrong?
transcend time, bro.
Okay,
Come
so-
on.
Mike, can you
Pull
research that real
Put up,
quick?
Jamie. Yeah.
All right. But that's not maybe the point of the question. We've got one episode left. Do you guys have any theories about where we're going, what's going to happen in this last episode? Now's the time to call your shot. Specifically, what's on the other side of the void, and maybe who's been in charge of this. I've heard Kang come up a lot in people's discussions on YouTube.
Yeah, thanks a lot, YouTube.
Somebody
Jeez.
else has brought up the idea that it's possible that the classic Loki is maybe behind some of this. Maybe Ravenna Renslayer knows more than she's letting on. What are your guys' takes here? What are we thinking is going to happen here in this last episode? Now's your chance to be Nostradamus.
I mean, I'm gonna lean towards Kang. Kang makes the most sense. Like, he's a time traveling warlord villain, which, if you don't know about Kang, that's really all you need to know. Warlord fights, destroys stuff, travels time. That's his bit. And the androids look like him. He's a big blue skinned being, and these were like these blue skinned beings. So if you're gonna go off the aesthetics, that would be what I would lean. The
And he
question
does
is,
When we
have-
saw them
how?
in silhouette form, they tried to make it seem like they were the Watcher, or like the Watcher race, which was like a kind
Like
of like a
Uatu?
fun misdirect. Yeah. Like Watu and his his species of people who watch things that transpire but never interfere.
They'd be on the moon chilling.
Stan Lee is supposed to be a Watcher, right? Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like a theory. Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Kang. It's the easy
Alright.
option.
All right, Mike. What do
So
you
I,
find?
I was doing so it's not confirmed. I also I just want to say God, some of these websites are just the fucking worst, dude. It's just like you Google Loki season 2. The headline is Loki season 2 on Disney Plus. Everything you need to know, and then the first line is it's not confirmed yet, but what's it about? And then it has that subtitle, and then it's under that it's well, if it does happen, here's what it'll be about. It's God damn it,
Gotcha.
Very 6th grade
yeah,
writing
honestly.
style.
Yeah. Jesus. But it does seem to be confirmed.
No,
or
call
not
them out
confirmed,
publicly. Slander
To
them.
seem
like,
to be
who-
confirmed.
No,
Who's
no,
the writer
this
on
is a very positive show. I'm
Okay,
gonna
alright.
just harass this person personally. It seems to be it's gonna happen, but it hasn't been officially confirmed yet. But
Alright.
apparently there was some article.
So I jumped the gun on that. I'm sorry. Sorry, listeners. Loki season
I kind
2,
of don't want
not
that
guaranteed.
though, but maybe I do. I guess we don't really know what the direction is, but
Yeah, I prefer just a standalone thing.
I would.
so
enjoy
it's
it.
people are using the language oh, it's been renewed, which doesn't seem to align with the way Marvel does things, right? Because it's not like they're just oh, well, it's good, let's make another season and throw it in there. It seems things have been very planned out. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much I trust any of this. We'll have to see how the show ends and how it connects to everything else, but I don't know if it exists or not. But my from what I'm reading now, I would say it does seem like it's going to happen.
All right. I'm on the King train as well. I don't think that classic Loki. I think he was just a regular being classic Loki, and you could see that he had leveled up a bunch with his magic and stuff. But I don't think he's the one behind TVA. There's another theory, right? That it's what is it? The one who cannot be named or something like that. Is that right?
Voldemort?
Are you just trying to say God?
No.
At a certain point, it's just say God, yo. I just want to say God. Just do it.
So is it the one who has no name?
The MCU as a Christian allegory.
God, but lowercase.
Isn't that
g.
what all of these are?
Obvious.
Quick editor's note. The name I was looking for, He Who Remains. Back to your show. All right, so I think Kang makes sense. Ravenna Renslayer does have, I think that's her name, has tie-ins to Kang as a love interest. They keep centering the middle timekeeper, and like Savon says, he's the one that kind of looks the most like Kang. So we'll see where that goes and how.
What if
time
it's
travel
just
plays a role
Julia
here.
Louis-Dreyfus pulling all the strings?
Get out. I canceled
Passing
my
along an
subscription. And,
iPad.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Agatha.
hey,
Um,
quick. Can I say a quick
yeah.
thing?
Go ahead.
MCU's had a lot of really dope moments over the years of just like Thor arriving in Wakanda and them charging in Thanos' army and all these like amazing moments. The old man Loki summoning an entire illusion of Asgard and the music and the cinematography, that might be up there in terms of top MCU moments I've had.
It was so good.
I legit got chills. Like, they really hinted at his magic being powerful, and the whole knife bit was hilarious. And then he just comes and does that, and that really like had me like, I rewinded that scene like twice because it just blew my mind. I just gotta shout that scene out. That oof.
I also love how the smoke monster Eliath or whatever is basically a variant of the Lost smoke monster.
Oh my god! Yeah. Ugh.
Never seen Lost.
We're not going to talk about Lost.
If we're
This
shouting
is not
out
a
specific
J.J.
scenes,
Abrams friendly show.
if we're shouting out specific scenes, just because you're mad he messed up Star Wars, the opening scene of episode 5 where they zoom in on, well, actually it's an overhead shot. It kind of goes upside down. You start following a character walking in, and then they zoom in on the gold doors with the hourglasses, and then it spins and it dissolves into the timekeeper's chamber. Like, just the amount of work that went into that, but also A, they get to show off their beautiful sets again, and B, right, you're let in on this idea that like the show is going to start turning things on its head. And so I really like that we're a little bit disoriented and as the viewers, and they're setting you up for that right away. And I thought just like, what a cool, like non-verbal, non-writing way to do that as like a directorial and like cinematography choice.
Is that called like a Dutch tilt? Is that what that's called?
A what?
A Dutch
Oh,
tilt?
very good.
Wow,
Yeah.
look at that.
Wait, is that what it's called?
Well, Dutch is anything that's not where the screen's not parallel or the camera angle is not parallel to the ground. So anything that's like tilted. You'll see it in a lot of like 80s and 90s movies.
Apparently
the Dutch
Thor
angle,
Yeah,
also
apparently
known
the Thor
as
movies
Dutch
did them a lot.
tilt, canted angle, or oblique angle, is a type of camera shot which involves setting the camera at an angle on its roll axis so that the shot is composed with vertical lines at an angle to the side of the frame, or so that the horizon line of the shot is not parallel. Okay, I'm not reading more of this, but yeah, good job, Savon.
Yeah, I remember.
This is a legitimate film criticism show.
Yeah,
We know lingo. We have an award-winning director.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Big
That's
stuff.
3 in this episode.
Savon, did you have something?
No, I just want to make it
All
clear.
right.
I don't dislike Loki. I get excited to watch it and it's dope. But, you know, I'm always going to feel that way about the larger universe just being a bunch of English-speaking humans. That'll always be that's always going to be
fair.
a thing for me. It's my same issue with the Guardians movies, but it's not the end of the world. Loki is great.
All right, we're going to wrap up here with a quick little bit. Our winners and losers. So, guys, who do you find worthy here of holding the great Mjolnir hammer? Who has come out on top? Who has, or what has? It could be a thing. What has been really successful, especially coming out of episode 5? Brian, I wanted to come to you first on this one. Who is your Mjolnir holder?
Oh, the obvious choice, of course, is Old Man Loki, who spent his own time in purgatory on that planet alone, thinking about all the pain he's caused everybody, and ended up missing his brother, and then realized that he could help this other Loki become a better version of Loki. Who could be more worthy than such a person? He's the winner.
Mike, what do you think?
I'm going to have to go with Sylvie here. I think that like she's kind of the focal point of all of this, just by nature of being the main variant. And this whole show is about variants and timelines and messing with that. And she's kind of the anchor of all of that in terms of like actually doing what the whole show is based around. And the acting is just so good. Like the character plays off of Tom Hiddleston so well. So she is just like brought the show to a new level. Like I think she's almost in a similar place as Florence Pugh in Black Widow, but because the rest of Loki around her is so good, like she's able to excel even more. So I just think as in terms of like a counterpoint to the main Loki, like Sylvie's been such a great character, and I'm excited to kind of see the direction she goes in for the finale and like what happens. Does she die? Does he die? Blah blah blah. But
One of them has
I
to
just
die.
think Someone has to die, but
Yeah.
I just think like overall, like that performance is very key for the show being successful, and it has been a very strong performance.
She's been fantastic. Savon, who is your Mjolnir winner?
She's also actively breastfeeding. Like she's like a whole mom with a baby right now, so it's like that's just pretty badass too.
Like, wait, while they were filming
During
or like,
the show?
Yeah,
Like
like,
right now.
She posted
Special
no,
effects, bro.
No, while they were they
While they were
built
filming.
like zippers into her suit so
Yeah.
she could breastfeed more easily. So like that's pretty cool.
Take out the
Nice job.
zippers in
Workplace
post.
way. I guess maybe, but like I don't know. That's cool. Like that's pretty badass. Like she
is that why she
that's
said
tough.
I need a new outfit? This one is really uncomfortable.
Maybe.
Did you see Falcon's outfit before post?
Oh,
Looked
it's like
awful.
it's loopy.
Yeah, it doesn't fit around his neck. Anyway,
All right, Savon, who's your winner?
Yeah. The people who had to just design all of the costumes and set pieces. A lot of movies have one, maybe, they usually have someone who's clear that they would be specialized in certain areas or certain styles, but it is hard to go from having Pompeii appear to a fictional destroyed planet to a future Walmart to just a place that's just an amalgam of just random things that were terminated, and then you do a big Easter egg visual gag for a whole thing. Like, that had to have taken a lot of creative brain work. Yeah, they had like the giant yellow jacket helmet, helicarriers, Ronin's ship. It's a whole thing. So
why was Mobius driving a car with a giant pizza slice? on it?
spring.
Like,
I'm saying, look, like if that was like, I half thought that was gonna be the Pizza Planet thing from Toy Story for a second. I thought they would go, nah, but that is
universes
so
are combined.
fun and creative. So I gotta give props to whoever was the team responsible for that.
So my Mjolnir wielder has to be the chemistry between Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson. Any scene that they're in has
Bromance.
been
I
so
love it.
fun and so interesting. And it always moves. Not always. It often is central to moving the plot forward or to developing Loki in some way. But just their on screen interactions and chemistry and writing has been so good. Those two are just phenomenal. I'll bet you they're fun to watch in person. Just hanging out as bros off camera. So that has been a major win for me. I didn't know I needed that in my life, but I did, and it's been fantastic. All right.
Episode 6, Mobius on a jet ski. It's gonna happen.
Oh, for sure. How can it? It has to. He might die, but
It would
he's
be
gonna
a
on a
damn
jet ski.
shame.
Owen Wilson is such a good actor.
I know. Who knew he could act?
Like, I'm sitting there like, all right, and then I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, when you think about his
slapping.
career and like the type of movies he's been in and the type of movies he's been good in, like the MCU like makes such perfect sense. Like it's like goofy and not too serious, but has heart. Like, isn't that just Wedding Crashers and all those other movies?
Yeah,
he
but I
did?
think-
Like,
Yeah.
this is just like Wedding Crashers with a giant budget. Like, it's like
Wow.
It makes
what a
it
sentence.
makes
sense of
such sense that
Wedding
like, he's
Crashers
in
with a
this
bigger
and that
budget.
he's great in it. Like, oh, it just works. So
Talk about
absolutely
quotables
agree.
there. Wedding Crashers with a bigger budget. All right. So that moves us on then to the flip side of that same coin, which is there anything that has been found wanting, not worthy of wielding the great Mjolnir? Savon, we'll start you off since you got kind of the last
Yeah.
dig at this one.
Yeah. I think the biggest one for me that stands out, the TVA doesn't feel dangerous. When I watch them in the show, when they fight, when there's conflicts, they just don't feel like threats. And that's probably my biggest criticism of the show is that they're these time people. They can do all this badass, seemingly omniscient time stuff. Infinity Stones are paperweights to them, but they lose it in hand-to-hand combat against Loki, who, come on, like, I'm not saying Loki's a softie, but, like, I don't know. I don't think they should just get as...
I
they
mean,
get
he's a
their ass
god,
beat a lot.
so-
So.
Isn't the point of the show though that they're kind of a joke and it's just
Yeah.
more about bureaucracy than actually doing
Yeah,
things? Like,
but they could do
if
the
they were, like-
bureaucracy.
This is not a debate, though. Let's let him have his
Yeah,
moment.
like,
but I
yes.
disagree. I'm with Mike.
No, it's
everything's
like,
a debate.
Yes, I like all that's true. You could still make them seem inept and all that, but still not make them just seem like rent-a-cops.
Okay.
Like, I felt like I could fight a TVA agent and hold my own.
Yeah, until you got pruned. Brian, who's your found wanting?
Until your knee gave out and then you're just rolling around on the ground.
I mean,
He's not that old yet. Me and Brian are having that.
The
issue.
man has knee problems. No.
Oh, he has knee
Savon
problems, too.
is up
Okay,
there with you. That's what you get for being tall.
It's my cross to carry.
the drawbacks. So for me, this might sound a little weird. I think like Sylvie's whole revenge arc is like, okay, yeah, I'll go with it, but I really was hoping she was just like a much cleverer, more nefarious kind of Loki that she seemed to be when they first introduced us to her and what she was up to. You know, like I messaged you guys after episode 2, I think, when she sent all the reset triggers all across the timeline and they were just creating massive Nexus events everywhere. I was really hoping that was going to a different place, like a much more interesting, crazier place, than rather than that being used as a diversion so that she could kill some timekeepers.
Have I got a video game for you?
What
Rift
video
Apart.
game?
It's a good game.
All of those
So-
things crashing
It's a
at the same
good
time.
game.
It's so good. Get a PS5, Brian. Level up.
Anyway,
One day. When's the next Winter Olympics?
That was good.
Brian or Mike, what you got?
I don't really have anything. I mean, like, I think both of these fellas have made 2 pretty good points there. Yeah, you, Savon.
He's making faces.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, I kind of don't. It's funny because I just said that Sylvie is, like, doing a good job and is a strong part of the show, but I guess maybe like her revenge arc is the most, and to use a good word again, is the most anodyne part of the show. It's just kind of like a bit generic when everything else is like the whole plot is kind of driven on these really unique aspects of the premise of the show. So I guess maybe that, but like that's kind of minor, and I think like her individual motivation is almost secondary to the way she connects to like the main Loki and all the other crazy stuff going on. But I think her performance is strong enough that it kind of levels it out.
Right on. I have found the Renslayer character actually wanting. I feel like there was more development they could have done for her. She just isn't clear, and that's sort of intentional, right? She is supposed to be a little bit ambiguous in terms of what her role is, but like I feel like they've actually gone too far in that direction where we haven't found any reason to care about her. She doesn't seem to care about other people in any sort of way. She's been just really kind of like that milk toast we've been talking about for a while, and so her character to me has been, I thought she was going to be way cooler when they introduced her in that first episode, and she has turned out to be very, like, I don't care about any scene that she's in. I just want to get to the next scene wherever she's not in it.
It was kind of funny. Like,
It's almost like she's not a threat.
I watched like all of the Marvel shows with my friend Curry, and we'll like text during it, and
Steph?
then like when she, yeah, my boy Steph Curry, no, pretty far from Steph Curry, but
Hey, Steph
it's
Curry
just
is
like
still
when she
good.
came in that last episode and like she had that sash. I just texted Curry. I was like, the sash is meant to show that she's a fascist now. That's called symbolism. And it's like that just kind of aligns with the character. It's just kind of like. I guess like you need to have something that just kind of is there and like is, you know, the embodiment of the TVA and like the foil for all of them. But
I mean,
But
I
I
thought
think
she gets
like
a good
she's
payoff.
almost irrelevant. Like it seems like the
Yeah.
stakes they're dealing with, like she's just kind of like, I guess, an example of like how dumb the bureaucracy is. They're kind of making that point, like she's just clinging to the
But
TVA.
like
So
Office
I-
Space did that, and like
Yeah.
their bosses were like interesting and fascinating, and like you kind of understood them. We don't understand her. We don't know what makes her tick at all. Like,
she's just a fascist. She's just bought in. She's bought into
she's the bureaucracy
cult of it all
embodied.
so much.
I
Yeah.
think
did you
was
did you
there.
guys see Harry Potter though? Like
I mean, I read
the
it.
lady
Time
in the
ago.
pink, that
Dolores
like tortures
Umbridge.
Harry.
Dolores
Like-
Umbridge.
Yeah, like
She's interesting.
Yeah, but she
But
was
like you
evil.
can't have the TVA be boring by nature, which I think would be the argument I would make, is like it's supposed to be kind of bureaucratic and boring and fascist like that and not like too colorful. You can't have the person embodying that as it's falling apart be like a really dramatic, charismatic villain, because like why that doesn't align with everything she's been brought up around.
I guess, but then don't give her that much screen time. All right.
I'm
I've-
hoping she gets a payoff though.
Yeah, it's true.
She
She might.
does have a comic book counterpart.
She's just gonna
for a
die.
reason.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't
and
think
she
she's
wants
just
to know the
gonna
mystery
die.
too. So you know,
How does
what's
she-
her role?
Yeah, I don't know if
Does
they're
she
gonna take.
care?
I assume they're taking the TVA down in the last episode, and so like, what ramifications are that gonna have? Like, that could be interesting.
I mean, she's a wild card.
wants
So let's see what they
If
do with her.
if like it just falls apart and then she just like escapes and then becomes a villain, like I'm gonna be so disappointed because
In
they've done
another
that
TV
exact-
show.
Yeah, they've just done that in every single thing that's come out since Endgame, and that would be irritating.
No, so, but do you want to kill every villain off at the end of every movie too? That's another that is an issue that they've had. They had dope villains
That
you just
character
kill.
should 100% die.
I mean, for the record, I don't like this character, but
Not from that I don't like the character. That like it just seems like if you're so bought into it, you're such a fascist. Like you're gonna go down with the ship. You know,
Right.
you're not gonna Hitler didn't exactly run off to Brazil.
true hero. What?
How
You're
long
making
does
the
it
man
take for
sound like
Hitler to get mentioned?
Say what you want.
All right, well, that'll wrap up our episode 5 Loki discussion. When we come back, hopefully we will talk about Loki 6, I imagine, unless we take a break. We have talked about we might take a break after these next couple of episodes. So find our socials, Twitter, at confidently_pod. If you would read the show notes, Mike, at confidently_pod, Twitter and Instagram. Leave us a review, leave us a comment. Visit all of our sponsors, especially Disney.com. Friends, this
Thanks,
has been a real
Disney.
one. Yeah.